do say if you want something done, ask someone who's busy. Chester Williams is just that. He's beginning his fledgling training career and doing so in good style too. He's also raising money for a charity very close to his heart, SANS, by training for the London Marathon. How's the training going?
Yeah, the weather keeps putting me away because it just keeps raining, and having done a sort of a morning outside in the rain, the last thing I desperately want to do is go out and do a run, run 10 miles in the rain. But no, it's going okay, and I'm getting through it. I'm just hoping, like the horse, I'm hoping the weather will turn soon, and that'll make it easier. The
training career is going very well. Now, you have publicised SANS, the charity, and your efforts for it quite extensively. But that's not to say that everybody who is watching knows exactly why you're publicising that, why you want to raise the money. And this extraordinarily turbulent and very, very dark period of your life and your wife, Fliss, at the back end of 2022, when you were suffering from a very serious brain injury and you lost your firstborn son, Archie. When you now look back and reflect on that period of your life, 3.5 years later, how do you kind of come to terms with it, reconcile yourself to it?
Yeah, it's an almost impossible situation to think about, and even when I sort of tell the story, it's quite hard to think that actually I was in hospital, at the same hospital that Fliss went to with Archie, having had her placental abruption, and Archie died in, and I was in hospital, and I do vaguely remember them wheeling me down to the
birthing unit.
Yeah, the birthing unit, and I sort of vaguely, it's in the sort of crux of my memory, but yeah, it's an impossible situation to. I can't quite believe it's 3.5 years ago now. Sometimes it feels very recent, and sometimes it feels a long time ago. But no, we're very fortunate to now be blessed with our little girl Ada, who's a year and a month, and yeah, that I can't quite believe it was her first birthday the other day, and it's important for me to. I think the reason I want to run the marathon this year in particular was that Ada was born, and people have this conception that no, you have another baby and you're okay now, and everything's fine. But the loss of Archie will live with me and Fliss forever, and our families forever. And actually, so it was particularly important this year to raise more awareness and the work the SANS do and the importance. It's baby loss. It's a much more prevalent thing than people realise. And I'd never even, before we lost Archie, I'd never even heard of anyone that had. But actually, since then, and actually since I've started the marathon, and I've had messages from people that have actually said, no, if it hadn't happened to them, it's happened to their sibling or a friend, or that they've lost a baby. And it's, I think awareness needs to be there for all the people that have been in similar situations, and it's a problem. And it will continue to be a problem, but SANS do everything they can to support people that are going through the loss of a baby.
So in essence, you feel that you wouldn't really be able to sit here today, talk the way you're talking, conduct a life that, to all intents and purposes, is quite normal with Fliss and Ada, had it not been for the support that SANS gave you all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when the worst time in Fliss's life, when I should have been there to support her, I simply wasn't able to be. I don't think I was. We lost Archie in the October. I don't think I really appreciated it, or really even accepted that he was gone until maybe the April the next year.
Really?
Because my brain just wasn't able to function with that, and it was always held as this sort of strong, like, oh, at least Chester's getting better, but that wasn't really the point. And those SANS were able to give the support and the community and let Fliss talk to people that had been through similar situations, and they continue to be there. No, they'll continue to be there for a long time if whenever needed.
How close were you to losing your own life in the fall that you had?
I don't know. I mean, the psychologist that I was seeing, for the 6 months once I'd left hospital, he did say I made a comment, and he used to say, and I was sort of making light of it, And he said, people do die from this. What happened to you, people do die. So, I mean, I didn't lose my life, so I don't tend to think too much of that. But yeah, I think it has left life-changing impacts on me. I do have aspects where I'm not able. Thankfully, I do a job which is not a conventional job. I was struggling in a 9-to-5 standard job because I do get neuro fatigue. I get tired I need to have a rest in the middle of the day and things. And sort of working for myself allows me that freedom to do that. Whereas I'm not sure I'd be very employable.
Are you conscious of the way your brain functions now compared to how it used to function, or can you not really remember how it was before?
No, it's really odd. My memory from my childhood or from pre-injury is exactly as it was, and even it is now. But my short-term memory, my memory since the accident is much worse. As one of the girls in the yard was talking about horse about 15 years ago, and I sort of could remember him exactly and sort of things that he'd done, and it's really odd that it's exactly intact, my memory from my sort of childhood memories and everything. But my memory since the accident is much less good. So I just have to be careful of that and write notes. And
you're always someone I would associate with being someone with an enormous capacity for facts and data and things that have happened and where you might run your horses. Do you even impaired would function at a higher level than most people, wouldn't you?
I don't know. I think you're saying I'm quite boring, and that I think most people. I think
that was me thinking I'd paid you a compliment.
I think most people would agree that. No, I think most people would agree. I think Darryl Jacob used to always say I was a walking, talking form book. Yeah.
So are you actually less boring since the accident then?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm more. my filter has definitely reduced. So I'm just hoping that I'm always hoping I don't say something too stupid.
Now, those who know the Williams family, who know you and Lizzie Kelly, your sister, and your dad Nick and your mum Jane, know that you're not a conventional unit by any stretch of the imagination. What was it like growing up as Nick and Jane's child?
Yeah, it was always fairly flat out. I mean, I think now as an adult, I have an appreciation of the fact that they were both chartered accountants. They had their own business and they were doing that, and then trying to train horses on the side of it, and the training got to 20, 30 horses quite quickly. And whilst they were still trying to do a very much a full-on job as it was, no, the dinner times were never boring, that is for sure. There'd be plenty of arguments, and this horse should be running there and this horse should be running there. And I think from about the age of 8, I was sticking my oar in and saying, why aren't you running that horse in that race? And I do remember a horse, Dom Dorcheval, and I said, I should have run it. We should have run in the Ladbroke at Ascot and things. And no, groupthink has never been a problem for us. That is for sure.
So is that why then you and your mum are running separate yards, separate licences, albeit pretty near one another?
Yeah, it's a funny one. So obviously I have the option to have the joint licences now, and actually pre-injury I was going. That was the plan. I'd done all my courses and everything, but in reality, if you have a parent and a child on the licence, the child is always still the junior person. It would have been no different to I would still be the number 2. Mm-hmm. And actually, I wasn't a particularly good number 2 pre-brain injury, and I was definitely more difficult post-brain injury. I'm more difficult post-brain injury. So it just sort of worked that we've decided to do our own separate things, and I sort of I rented a portion of her yard from her, and the whole operation runs very separately. But it's sort of bizarre. The relations have much improved since her horses are doing really well. My horses seem to be going okay, and so relations are actually much improved as a result of
not working together.
So it's been a plus.
But I always used to enjoy talking to Jane a lot over the years, including on this programme. And I used to enjoy talking to your dad, Nick, when he was training here as well. And the one thing I always thought that marked them both out was just a real candour. If you asked them a question, you just got an absolute straight-up answer.
Yeah.
So actually, filter or no filter, it was bred into you in the first place. That's probably fair, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And I think One thing I've definitely learned a lot more appreciation and probably a bit of humility about the result of, and actually the work that they have done over the years. I know it's very easy being the sort of the number two and saying, oh, you should be doing this, and being the arrogant number two is an easy thing to do, and telling the number one all the things they should be doing. Whereas actually, when the buck stops with you, you realise that everything's very different, and actually, I have a much more appreciation for everything that they've achieved and done, because neither of them were born into racing. This is they sort of did it as a hobby, and actually to step into and be as successful as they have been, and make a living from training. And between them they trained 12 Grade 1 winners. I mean, that's a fairly impressive effort. So I have a much more appreciation for everything they've done.
Is there something that characterises the Williams methodology that makes you a bit different from the kind of norm, the convention, and has contributed to this success?
I think, the standard is the horses get going younger. It takes much more of the French approach, or 3-year-olds running over jumps and everything like that. That has been mum and dad, they were in France buying young horses long before, buying French-bred young horses before everyone realised that the French-breds were the ones to get, and that's what I would think is the Tonta too. Like my own horse now, she's only a 3-year-old, but she's now had 3 runs over jumps, and she just done 4. But that's what I would say. Just trying to get much more the French approach, and the fact that Dad is French is probably, he liked going to France because he could speak the language, and so he liked going there initially, and they've always followed that approach.
And so you're getting horses that you know that you're going to train much earlier on in their career, and you start working on them. Is there something to be said then for end users, if you like, of jumps horses, buying their own horses much earlier in their careers, as actually rather than waiting till somebody else has gone and won a point with them, or somebody else has gone and won a bumper with them, or somebody else is selling them as a 3-year-old store when they're completely unbroken? Is there something to be said for saying, well, actually, I'm going to go and get this horse as a foal, as a yearling, as a 2-year-old, and I'll just shepherd it all the way through, and I can monitor the way it's going?
Yeah, I think it just happens to work for us. I mean, we don't have the luxury of being able to, we haven't had the luxury up to now of buying really good quality horses that have won their point-to-points and things. And there are lots of very good people that are doing the pre-training and the pointing, but actually getting a horse when they're young and being able to be a part of their development the whole way along the process and seeing their characteristics, it does help us to sort of learn about the horses.
So who now is, so you were number 2 to your mum, who is now telling you what to do or trying to chip in or whatever, or is it all you at the moment?
Yeah, it's all me, and me and the team of owners I've got. I'm very grateful to have the support. It's not guaranteed any young trainer. I know that I'm very privileged to actually have the support of the owners that I've got in the yard. We've got 10 horses, all of which are fully owned, and thankfully, whilst the horses are running well, no one's the owners are great, and they've all allowed me to. We have chats about all the horses, and we all have our opinions about what they should be doing. But the buck does stop with me now, and whilst it's going well, I enjoy it. But I'm not sure it'll be so fun when I haven't been lulled. I like to think I haven't been lulled into a false sense of security, and I know that the tough times will come. But in reality, given it's gone very nicely so far, and I probably have been lulled into a false sense of security. And
do you miss the riding? Can you remember much about the riding?
Yeah, I remember wasn't great. I'm glad to have good jockeys going out riding the horses rather than me. I miss it. I don't miss the race. I don't miss the race riding. I think all the jockeys are mad and incredibly brave. And whenever I'm watching any race now, I think, blimey, it does make me realise how brave they are, and I have much more appreciation of that. I miss the riding at home. I do now ride at home again, and I have been for probably the last year and a half. I miss that, and actually being involved in the trading and riding the horses. I know when you've had a horse that you've broken started as a yearling, broken into 2-year-old, and then they might be getting ready for a first run, and they might do their first piece of work, and you think, and then you do a piece of work and think, blimey, this can go. That's an immensely satisfying and enjoyable feeling, to being involved in that whole process. So that's what I didn't ride for a year and a half, 2 years, and that's what I missed more than the race riding. No, I definitely don't. I don't watch races around Newton Abbey in the summer and think I'd want to be doing that.
And I'd imagine Fliss is probably quite pleased as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's although now we're training, I think she gets even more nervous for the training than when we had a Indania run at Warwick last week and a grade 2, and she'd won her previous race, and she just spent the whole day. No, she didn't sleep that well the night before, and I think that being involved in the training is actually more frightening than watching me ride.
And how are you now as a family unit, going back to where we began?
Yeah, very good, very busy. It's very nice to be able to do. Being able to train with Fliss and have that support along. I mean, any trainer needs. It's not just an individual. It's about having a team around you. And even though we've only got 10 horses at the moment, being able to do that, and afternoon stables is normally being Fliss, and Ada, our little girl, she gets wheeled out on the pushchair, and she likes seeing what's going on. So no, thankfully she's very tolerant, and she's not too demanding. She's happy to sit there and watch us work in the rain, and I think she's happy that she's under cover.
Now you've already articulated incredibly impressively how you were feeling, or how you perceive you were feeling in those months after you lost Archie. Since then, you've spoken really interestingly about some of the shortcomings in the system that you think need to be addressed as well, and that's now very important as you seek to raise support and money for SANS. You're also trying to raise more awareness into the whole area of research around loss of babies. Tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, well, SANS, I mean, if you watch the news regularly, I mean, it's amazing how often maternity services come up as a problem. I think in the southeast last week it was, investigation was done into the midwifery services in the southeast, and there were lots of trusts that were failing to provide the appropriate level of care. And it's really important in the UK that we push that, and actually and SANS support they support the funding of it, and they push it in government to help improve the maternity services that we have. And it's it is frightening for any mother, and obviously it's a terrifying time it's a brilliant time, but it can be frightening for any mother with a baby, and actually you need to know that you're getting the best services possible. And I think SANS and Tommy's as well, they do work to improve and push that in government and increase funding. So
as beyond the trauma and the sadness that will last forever, is there a sense of some anger in you as well at systemic failure?
Yes, there has been, and I know there is in Fliss. I think there are times where the care that Fliss received has been an investigation found that it wasn't of the appropriate level, and finding that is incredibly difficult. Finding that out, and knowing that it has come out that Archie potentially could have been saved had different methods been taken in Fliss's care, and it probably makes me less angry, but it makes Fliss, and it makes our families, it does make them angry when you hear about these systematic failings.
And it goes back to that first question, is it becomes much more difficult to reconcile yourself to something that you think could have had a different outcome.
Absolutely. Fliss left the hospital with the idea, it was just said, it's just one of these things that happens. And it's not, and it is one of the things that happens, but there are also procedures in place to try and make sure every single baby is delivered as safely and healthy as possible. And when you know that there have been failings in the care that have been received, that makes it much harder.
And if that's the worst, and it is the worst, then the best is surely what we're putting up right on that screen now, which is a QR code to help a charity like SANS, who are certainly not rolling in money and are very little known, and actually can start to, they'll never put you back together, but to start to put the pieces in place that you can live and exist and have joy and happiness in your lives.
Yeah, I'm very grateful to anyone that has donated to my charity, to SANS, and no, I think it's really important that they do receive the care. It's not a well-known charity. I didn't even know about the problem, let alone the charity before Archie was born, and no, so every pound that they receive is gratefully received and gratefully received from me. No, the thought that they can help more people in the future is very important. That's what I want to do. That can be Archie's legacy.
You do need to kick on with the training, though.
Yeah, that's the no. So thankfully,
no. Are you pretty fit anyway?
Relatively, I did quite a lot of running last summer because I knew that come the winter it would get more difficult when I was just sort of doing, after a full morning outside and things. But no, it's I will get there. I tend to put things off until the last minute, but I have realised in a marathon you can't really do that. So I am going to have to try and really put my head down and get more training done.
We will get the old-fashioned web address for you as well for the Enthuse page, but scan that QR code on the screen. You won't go too far wrong. He keeps moving the target. It's gone up to 5,000 now. We need another 1,700 quid or something like that to get him to 5,000. I think we can probably do that by the end of today's show, and if not, at least by the end of today. And then you'll just have to move the target again and keep going up. Yeah,
but it's nice to be able to do. That's the no. It's fortunate that I'm very grateful for all the support I've received already. But some more definitely won't go amiss, and I know that it will be well spent and well by SANS, and every penny they raise is important.
Chester, for the moment, thank you so much.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.